هذا القرآن يوحدنا لطريق الخير يوجهنا الله تعالى أنزله ورسول الله معلمنا هذا القرآن.
طيب، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. جزاكم الله خيرا for coming to the halaqah tonight. And this program is a series of halaqahs, maybe 7 to 8 halaqat inshallah. And this program will be talking about fiqh al-mu'amalat al-maliyya, or fiqh of business transactions as we call it in English. And I would like tonight to start with talking about business ethics in Islam. What are the ethical rules and values that we have to take into account when we do business with each other? And talking about ethics, the ethics could be defined as a set of moral standards that are usually used to separate between what is wrong and what is right, to distinguish between what is wrong and what is right. And they usually serve two objectives. The first objective is to evaluate human practices by calling upon these moral standards. So we do an evaluation and we say this is wrong or this is right or this is good, this is bad. And the second objective of these ethics is to give guidelines on how to act morally in a given situation. So basically, ethics, our studies of ethics cover what is moral and what is immoral behavior within a commercial context. Business ethics is a branch of ethics that examines these rules and these principles, as I said, in business. So what are the duties and obligations that apply to people engaged in commercial activities or business transactions? Or what are the recommendations that can be given to these people who are involved in this kind of activities? What are the various problems, ethical problems that can arise in a business settings? So we are supposed to study and talk about these things in this program, inshallah. Basically, the ulama, they said, or in a nutshell, the study of ethics covers or is concerned with what is right and what is wrong, what is just and what is unjust. We talk about justice because we believe the general framework of doing business in Islam is to achieve justice. Justice to traders and consumers, justice to the buyer, justice to the seller. And that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has forbidden riba, because riba goes against justice. There is no justice in dealing with interest. And we will talk inshallah in the future about these things in detail. In Islam, in our deen, alhamdulillah, Islam places the highest emphasis on ethics in all sphere of private and public life, in all aspects of human life. So Muslims are supposed to observe ethics when they deal with their family members, when they deal with neighbors and friends. They are supposed to observe some values and some norms, some akhlaq, some manners when they deal with everyone. And when they do business, they are supposed to observe some values and some ethical rules. What is amazing or what is good about this code of Islamic ethics is that it is part of our faith. It is part of our deen. And this is what made this ummah the best ummah. خَيْرُ أُمَّةٍ إِن كُنْتُمْ خَيْرَ أُمَّةٍ أُخْرِجَتْ لِلنَّاسِ. You are the best nation that has been raised up to mankind. And there are conditions. Of course, we always mention this sentence, but we forget sometimes what comes after. What made this ummah the best ummah? What made this ummah the best nation? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, تَأْمُرُونَ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. This is the reason. تَأْمُرُونَ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. You enjoin what is right. talking here about what is right and what is wrong. And you forbid evil. And you believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even though tawheed and believing in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the most important thing in our deen, is the foundation of our deen, is the essence of this deen, even though Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has delayed the mention of tawheed or belief in Him at the end because of the importance. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to emphasize the importance of these values. Al-amr bil-ma'ruf wal-nahyu anil munkar. So we are supposed to do amr bil-ma'ruf and nahy al-munkar when we do business too. We do it to ourselves first. Because usually when we have problems with our brothers and sisters in the community, when we are involved in business, we are the ones who we have to watch for ourselves, for our akhlaq, for our manners, before complaining about other people. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, إِنَّمَا بُعِثْتُ لِأُتَمِّمَ مَكَارِمَ الْأَخْلَاقِ وفي رواية إِنَّمَا بُعِثْتُ لِأُتَمِّمَ صَالِحَ الْأَخْلَاقِ. It was only sent for the purpose of perfecting good manners, for the purpose of perfecting good morals. So Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam summarized the purpose of his mission. إِنَّمَا بُعِثْتُ أَدَاتْ حَصْرٍ. I was only sent. Like he summarized the purpose of his mission into this, beautiful things of perfecting good manners. طيب, our Islamic code of ethics includes general ethical rules, about how to do business. When we do business, what are the things that we avoid and how we deal with our partners or with customers and so on. And also it includes ethically desirable forms of business. So there are many transactions that are named in fiqh. Mudaraba, musharaka, bay' al-salam, bay' al-istisna'. Those things, we will talk about them in detail inshallah. Some of them are well known in the Western financial system. Some of them are not known, but we will talk about them inshallah in the future. And also it includes undesirable modes of transaction. Al-gharar is haram, gharar, uncertainty, and riba, and najash, what is a najash, and so on. Bay' al-wafa, and some other types of buyu' that Islam has forbidden, or the Islamic Sharia said that they are disliked. Some of them are makruh. They are not haram, but they are makruh, like bay' al-mudtar, something that is very common. Many people, they don't know about it. Someone is mudtar, he is facing some hardship, leaving the country, moving to another country, and he has to sell his furniture. He has to sell his car. So I come to him and I say, okay, how much you want to sell this car? And then I wait. He gives me a price. I don't like it, and I wait until I feel that he's leaving the country, and he will sell it. He doesn't have choice, and then I feel that he might, cut the price into half. Then I come to him and give him an offer. I want to buy from him. So هذا بيع المضطر. قد يكون حرام أحيانا. Sometimes it is haram. Sometimes it is makruh. Sometimes it is halal if you give him a fair price. If you give him a fair price, there is a consensus by all the ulama. It is. But this is just an example of the types of buyu' that are mentioned in this chapter. Now, before we talk about some ethics, business ethics, I would like to talk about the nature of our Islamic economic system. What is the nature of our Islamic economic system? What is known now, people, they talk about capitalism and they talk about communism, right? So in communism, what is the cornerstone of this system? What is the foundation of this system? There is no private ownership. So basically the state plans and controls the economy. It is usually characterized by the absence, they said, the absence of competitive economic activities. And by government determination of price, modes of production, means of production. So the government is heavily involved in the economy. We have in the other side, The other side is the capitalist system, where private businesses own the means of production and and distribution and exchange. Now, what is the difference? What is the difference between the communist system and the capitalist system and our Islamic economic system? What is the difference between them?
Are we more geared towards a socialist system, like in between the two? So there's private ownership, I guess, of land. So like saying, for example, spoils of war, that's something that's considered...
Private ownership is highly endorsed in Islam.
Yeah, so it's a mix between...
So in our system, Islam endorses private ownership. Okay, freedom of enterprise, freedom of freedom of ownership. So every individual is free to pursue his economic activities within the boundaries of Sharia. So what is the difference? So in the capital system, we have free market. In Islam, in our Islamic system, we have free market. What is the difference between them? The regulations are different. This is the main difference, because we have many Islamic scholars, many Islamic thinkers. When they compare between the three of them, they talk about the communist system or communism, and they talk about the restrictions that they have upon private ownership and everything. And then when they describe capitalism, they tell you there are no rules. They give complete freedom to individuals to run their business the way they want. And you get the impression that there is no regulation in the West. And this is not right, because we live in the West and we see that most of the time, many sectors of their financial or economic system some of them are highly regulated. So there are regulations, and in every country, you go to Canada or UK or United States of America, they have these these bodies that are called regulatory bodies. They are agencies, government agencies, and their job is to regulate the market in every country. So they have restrictions, they have regulations, but they believe in the forces of in the market forces. They said what is wrong and what is right is left to be determined by the market forces. The market, they say, they have this theory, they got it from Adam Smith, that the market will fix their problems. The market itself will deal with the problems that arise within the market itself. So what is in Islam, what is wrong and what is right is determined by what? By the Sharia. So this is the main difference. There are regulations in the Western financial system, but they are not based on on wahi, on divine instructions. But our Islamic system endorses free market within the boundaries of Sharia. And this is the main difference. And that's why they believe that economic activities cannot be run without interest. They don't imagine a financial system that will exist without the use of interest. In Islam, we believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it haram, and it is possible to have a financial system that is not based on interest, because we have a different system which is PLS, profit and loss sharing. And this, when we talk about musharaka, we talk about this system and the problems that are related to this system, inshallah, in the future. Basically now, that all activities that may harm the traders or the consumers are forbidden in our Islamic Sharia. All activities that might harm anyone involved in business are haram in Sharia. Now, when we talk also about the concept of free market, we talk about the concept of non-government intervention. That people have to organize their economic activities without intervention of the government, with minimal government regulation. So the Islamic scholars, when they talk about this system, they bring a proof. What is the proof? Is the hadith of al-tas'ir. and it has many versions. Tas'ir is price control. So a man came to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, قال سعر لنا يا رسول الله. And he set some prices, limit some prices in the market. Give us some instruction regarding prices in the market. So he refused. Another man came to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He said, سعر لنا فقد غلى السعر يا رسول الله. You know, prices are going up. سعر لنا, put a limit on prices. So he said, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, إن الله هو المسعر. وإني لا أريد أن ألقاه بمظلمة يوم القيامة. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, it is Allah who pushes the prices up and down. Allahu al-Musa'ir. And I do not wish to meet him on the day of judgment with any injustice. So he, now in this case, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is saying basically that there is injustice here if I limit the prices or I interfere in the market. Another hadith that is found in Muwatta Malik, and this is the version of Imam Malik, that Umar ibn Khattab radiyallahu anhu went to the market and he found Hatib ibn Abi Balta'a selling some dried grapes. So he said, either you raise the price or leave the market. Hatib ibn Abi Balta'a took his merchandise, his dried grapes, and left the market. He went back home. So this is the version of Imam Malik now. This is what Imam Malik has narrated in his book, Al-Muwatta. Al-Imam al-Shafi'i, he added something. There is something that has reached him. It did not reach Al-Imam Malik. Al-Imam al-Shafi'i got another version. The same version that Umar ibn Khattab went to the market and he found Hatib ibn Abi Balta'a, selling those dried grapes, and he told him, either you raise the price or you leave the market. Imam al-Shafi'i, he said, but Umar ibn Khattab, when he went to his house, he thought again about what he did. And then he went back to Hatib ibn Abi Balta'a, knocked the door. He said, Ya Hatib, what I just told you was neither an expert's opinion nor a verdict. It was not a fatwa, and it was not the opinion of someone who is expert, who knows how the market is doing and everything. But it was just a concern for the welfare of people. I was concerned about the other traders, the other business people who are involved in the market. You were selling your food with the lower price. I didn't want you to hurt other people. And then he told him, go and sell with whatever rate you want and wherever you like, wherever place you like. This is what Umar told him. But this version, the second version, is found in the book of Imam al-Shafi'i. Now what do you expect now? Based on these differences, what do you expect? Regarding price control or regarding a tas'ir. Now you got some differences here, yes?
It's like supply and demand that governs what the price is?
Yeah, supply and demand and all these factors, and that's why Rasulullah ﷺ did not want to interfere. These are natural factors. So, but what do you expect based on those differences between Imam al-Shafi'i and Imam Malik? Imam al-Shafi'i got the full version of the hadith. Imam Malik got only the first part of the hadith. What do you expect? Differences in fatwa. Now you understand now why the ulama are coming with different fatwas. And this is, yes, in the school of Imam Malik, they believe in price control based on this, this hadith. But Imam al-Shafi'i is totally against price control. Yes?
But the fact Imam Malik, he gives half story is against the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. How we can live in this case, even the scholar from Maliki.
Well, there is a long discussion. I'll continue. So there is a discussion between the fuqaha regarding this issue. These are not the only ahadith that are found, but this is an example about the freedom of market. And the freedom of market is not based only on price control. It's about مثلا providing full information to the buyers and the sellers. Free entry to the market. There are many concepts, but I'm giving example here. And this is a discussion that went on between the ulama about the tas'ir. But alhamdulillah, Shaykh Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, for example, has solved this issue. And many ulama agreed with him, and most of the contemporary scholars have adopted this opinion now. They said, yes, the government does not have the right to interfere with the prices, okay? But if the prices are going high because there is some manipulation in the market, some manipulation, or what is called al-ihtikar, hoarding. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam قال لا يحتكر إلا خاطئ. يعني no one will practice hoarding except a sinful one, someone who is sinful. So what is al-ihtikar? Is they refrain from selling their goods. They refrain from selling. They hide their products until the prices go up and then they bring them up into the market again. This is al-ihtikar. There is a hadith that is not sahih. Some ulama, they said it is sahih. He said, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said in this hadith, Al-jalibu li suqina marzuq wal-muhtakiru mal'oon. That is the one, basically the one who practices hoarding is mal'oon, has been cursed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Shaykh Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, for example, he says here, if there is some manipulation in the market, there is some monopoly, a group of traders or business people came together and said, let's not sell this merchandise. Let's refrain from selling these products, hide them for a while, for a couple of weeks or a couple of months, until the prices go high, and then we bring our merchandise, provide our merchandise to the customers, and then we sell them. We sell them with higher prices. So there is manipulation here. There is ihtikar. So they said, like most of the ulama agreed with the Shaykh Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, that yes, here the government has to interfere and put some limit to the prices. They give other examples, like for example, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he used to practice what is called al-hisbah. After Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam passed away and Umar ibn Khattab and Abu Bakr, we used to have an agency called the Agency of al-Hisbah. And the functions of al-Muhtasib, or which is called in English, the market inspector, is to go and walk in the market and keep a watch on the activities or the practices or what people are doing, behavior of people who are involved in the market. For example, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam passed by someone who was selling a bag of grains, and then he put his hand into the bag and he felt that the grain at the bottom are wet. فقال ما هذا يا صاحب الطعام? What is this, O owner of this food? He said, قد أصابته السماء يا رسول الله. It was touched by rain, O Messenger of Allah. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam made statement, which is a general rule that applies to everyone. من غشنا فليس منا. The one who deceives us, deceives this ummah, does not deserve to be a member of this community. The community, the Muslim ummah. أليس منا. He's not one of us. فيعني here الغش يعني معروف إنه حرام, cheating, hiding the defects of the product is haram. It's not something that is acceptable in Islam. But Rasulullah ﷺ was interfering in the market here. So there is a certain level of intervention that is accepted. This is what they do in the West and what we were supposed to do in a Muslim state, in a Muslim economy. But as I said, the main difference between our system and the Western system is that what is wrong and what is right is determined by the rules of Sharia. What is halal, what is lawful, what is unlawful is determined by the rules of Sharia. What is right and wrong is determined by, most of the time, by the market forces in the financial system, in the Western or the capital financial system. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. طيب, let's talk a little bit now about some rules and some ethical values in our business life. Number one rule, the ulama, they said, anyone who wants to do business, anyone who wants to be involved in business and make money and get some income has to have a strong desire to earn legitimate income, halal income. And Islam places a great emphasis on what is halal, what is lawful, and what is unlawful in our business activities. And this is a big problem, a big dilemma that we are facing in our community here. It's not easy. Yeah, you say, oh, Sheikh Hacene is talking about, principles, about rosy principles, what is in the books. But how are we going to deal with the reality of our life in this society, in this environment? The rule is اتقوا الله ما استطعتم. These are general rules. But sometimes there are some fatwas that can be given to some people who are facing a certain situation or some hardship. So there is a fatwa, there is a Sharia ruling. We have to distinguish between Sharia ruling and between fatwa and between al-wara' or taqwa. There is a taqwa and fatwa and Sharia ruling. Taqwa is something is haram. You know that you are working with a company that sells alcohol. For example, this is an example. You don't deal with alcohol, you don't carry alcohol, you don't sell it, you don't deal with it. But you are working in a different department. So the ulama, they said, if you are working in a different department, you are not touching these haram items, your work is makruh. It's not haram because you are not dealing with haram items here in this society. But the fatwa could be different in a Muslim country. Because in a Muslim country, they are not supposed to have a company that sells alcohol, and there are many alternatives that are available to Muslims. That's why we have fiqh al-aqalliyat, fiqh of minorities. But fiqh of minorities have to be used carefully. It cannot be used as an excuse. Oh, we live as a minority in a non-Muslim society, then everything becomes halal. No, this is not a ruling. The ruling is, you have to use you look at this, your situation, you talk to the ulama. So basically this is one of the examples, but then you are not dealing with these items, as I said, you are not touching them, you are far away, working in a different department. So the ulama, they said it is makruh, because you are not involved in this kind of activity. But what is a taqwa? What is al-wara'? Leave the job, taqwa, and look for an alternative. Okay? So, and the fatwa for someone who is working in something haram, he's involved in it, he's dealing with it, handling haram items with his hands, but he doesn't have an alternative. So the ulama here in the West, trustworthy ulama, great ulama, they said because it is difficult we live in this environment, he can continue for a while with the intention, this is a condition that has to be there, with the intention of looking for an alternative. He has to keep looking for a halal alternative. He can stay in this job. If he doesn't have another income, has a family to feed, has responsibilities. But this fatwa could be different. This is a fatwa, this is not a Sharia ruling. This is not a ruling. The ruling that it's haram to deal with these items. Because Rasulullah, for example, alcohol, Rasulullah ﷺ has cursed the one who makes it, the one who sells it, the one who carries this alcohol, the one who is involved in this business. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent His curse upon any person who is involved in this business. But here we are in a different environment. So the Sharia ruling is not to deal with it, but the fatwa is looking at the situation of people, the condition of people. So some ulama, respected ulama, they said this is just an example. But one of the main issues that are mentioned in the books of fiqh is أكل أموال الناس بالباطل, devouring the properties of others wrongfully. And there are many forms and there are many ways, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned this ruling as a general principle in the Quran. ولا تأكلوا أموالكم بينكم بالباطل وتدلوا بها إلى الحكام لتأكلوا فريقا من أموال الناس بالإثم وأنتم تعلمون. This is in Surah Al-Baqarah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, and do not devour one another's property wrongfully, nor throw it before the judges. Throwing it before the judges is giving them a bribe. A judge is a hakim, someone who is supposed to pass a ruling upon a dispute that is taking place between two parties. So if you give him rashwa, you give him a bribe, so he can make a judgment or a ruling that is in your favor. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying clearly this is haram, this is أكل أموال الناس بالباطل. In a different ayah in Surah An-Nisa, يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تأكلوا أموالكم بينكم بالباطل إلا أن تكون تجارة عن تراض منكم. So he said, oh, you who have believed, do not devour another's property wrongfully or unjustly, unless it is by trade based on mutual consent. A taradi, mutual consent between two parties. We will talk about this. This is one of our business ethics. Is a taradi, trade through mutual consent. And Rasulullah ﷺ said, إِنَّمَا الْبَيْعُ عَنْ تَرَاضٍ. A sale is only a sale if it is made through a mutual consent. Now when we talk about taradi, we talk about some contracts that are very commonly used nowadays, commonly used in the West and in some Muslim countries. Those standard form contracts, or those they are called adhesion contracts. Adhesion contract, they are called in Arabic ʿuqūd al-idhān. You have no say in this contract. You come to this country, you rent a house, and you want to use electricity, or you need some utilities, gas, electricity. So you phone the company. You didn't have any say in this contract. It's a standard form contract that is given to you, or maybe it was not given to you, just on the phone. What is your address? What is your name? What is your, give them some information, banking information. And then you start receiving the bills. And you have no say in it. But Rasulullah ﷺ said, إِنَّمَا الْبَيْعُ عَنْ تَرَاضٍ. You have to be pleased. You have to be happy with the price. Do you ask how much you are charging me? For gas or electricity? We don't do that. Right? So these are called عقود الإذعان. But the ulama have discussed this uqud. They did not exist at the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and this is one of the problems that we are facing in this age. Uqud al-idhan, adhesions contract. Or sometimes someone is sick, or she is sick, completely sick, and the ambulance take him or take her to the hospital. And the hospital, the guy is very sick, and he wants to be treated, and they give him a contract to sign that the hospital is not responsible for any damage, or if he lose some of his properties. And you have no choice. You sign the contract. And then you lose, after that, you lose some of your properties. There are some cases in the West like this. A lady lost some of her properties. She sued the hospital, said, you signed the contract. They just signed it. So she hired a lawyer, and the lawyer said, this is an adhesion contract. She was not feeling well. She was extremely sick. And you made her sign this contract. And I don't know if she won the case or not, but most people will not do it. Unless you are on welfare or receiving EI, then you know that you will benefit from legal aid. Maybe you said, okay, it's a free legal services, you hire a lawyer, you don't pay anything, you might do it. But most of the people will not do it, but it is an adhesion contract. So the Muslim Fiqh Council discussed this uqud al-idhan, these standard form contracts. What is the Sharīʿah? What does Sharīʿah say about them? So they said now there are some benefits in them. Benefits in these contracts. They actually save time, they are time saving, and they are cost effective. Because imagine if everyone individually has to go to, what is our electricity provider? Inmax or Atco. Or you go to TELUS, and then you keep talking to the customer representative and telling him, give me a deal and give me a better deal, I want this and charge me this, and you want your own terms. And then everyone will do the same thing. Then they will have hard time maybe serving the whole population, right? So the ulama, they said there are some benefits, some fawaid in these adhesion contracts. They are available there, it's a standard form, and everyone will be treated fairly. Everyone will be treated equally. But when it comes to fairness or justice, that is something different issue. So the ulama discussed these issues. The ulama of the Muslim Fiqh Council, Al-Majma' al-Fiqh al-Islami, and he said they are permissible with one condition, that the government has to keep watch on these companies. And if the government feels that the prices are going up, like nowadays many people are saying, on the news time to time we hear that TELUS is stealing money from people, or such and such company is stealing money from people, because we have no say in these contracts, right? And we don't know if the government is doing their job is the regulator in this country, in this system, is doing his job or not. Many times regulators have neglected the market. Most of the they said the main reason behind the 2008 crash in the market is because of lack of corporate governance. There was a big problem, big crisis in corporate governance. And the rules and regulations were loose. And the government is not supervising, these authorities are not supervising the market. So they are getting these people, they are getting more freedom, and they are dealing and they are doing damage to our economic activities or our economic system. طيب, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam endorsed this. So basically, uqud al-id'an, the conclusion is, the ulama, they said they are permissible with this condition, that the government has to interfere if there is dhulm, if there is injustice. And nowadays, I don't know if there are people who, I don't know, I'm not sure in the society if we have an agency, or if we have a body, if we have an organization that defends the rights of the customers against these kind of companies. Allahu A'lam, I don't have information about this. If you have some information, tell me. The Sunnah endorsed this concept. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam was asked, Ayyu al-kasbi atyab? What form of gain is the best? فقال عمل الرجل بيده وكل بيع مبرور. A man's work with his hands and every legitimate sale. So Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, what does he mean? What did he mean by every legitimate sale? Any sale that is, free from cheating, from oppression, from deception, from deceiving. Any sale that is free from this manipulation, all types of manipulation, then it is bay' mabrur. Mabrur means mubarak, it will be blessed. It is legitimate, it will be halal, then it will be blessed. But Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam always gave us a warning, قال يأتي زمان على الناس. هذا الحديث موجود في البخاري. يأتي زمان على الناس لا يبالي المرء مما أخذ أمن الحلال أم من الحرام. He said the time will come upon people when one will not care as to how he gets his money, whether it is legally or illegally. And this is something that we see it nowadays. You talk to someone and tell him, Ya akhi, this is haram. I tell you, everyone is dealing with haram. Who cares about halal and haram these days? You must have heard this statement. Who cares about halal and haram these days? I've heard it many times. Everyone is involved in haram. And in this country, don't talk to me about halal and haram. We live in a different environment. Where is your mujahada? Where is your mujahada that you want to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? You want a Jannah. You are a Muslim and your purpose is to enter Jannah. How are you going to enter Jannah if you don't try to control your desires, control your whims, control your shahawat? How are you going to enter Jannah? This is what we are supposed to do as Muslims. This is the mujahada that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about in the Quran. وَالَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا فِينَا لَنَهْدِيَنَّهُمْ سُبُلَنَا. طيب, the second rule, the ulama, they said it trade through mutual consent, and we talked about it. We mentioned few things about a few rulings regarding this issue. So if someone is mukrah, yani a sale under coercion is not a valid sale. This is the ruling. Yani if someone put a gun on the head of someone, sell me your car with 5,000 or 1,000, and the price of the car, the real price is 40,000. Well, this sale is not valid. And he signs the contract, the bill of sale. The sale is not valid because it happened under coercion, al-ikrah. So it's not valid. This is a basic rule in fiqh, in Sharia. The ulama, they said also truthfulness in business transaction. الأمانة ثقة, إنسان يكون ثقة, honesty. That's why Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم قال التاجر الأمين مع النبيين ومع الصالحين والشهداء يوم القيامة. So Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم said the truthful merchant is ranked on the Day of Judgment, is rewarded by being ranked on the Day of Judgment with prophets, with martyrs, and with pious people. This is a tajir al-amin. So it's not actually bad to do a tijara. Tijara is a good activity, is a blessed activity. When we do it properly, when we do it with a good intention. Because Rasulullah ﷺ said, if someone leaves his house seeking his rizq, for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to feed himself, feed his family, taking care of his family, then he is fi sabilillah. إِذَا خَرَجَ مُفَاخَرَةً, boasting, and looking for fame. I'm the man. I'm making so and so. I know how to make money, and I'm the best in the market. I bought a house here, and I have a house back home, and these things. Boasting in front of and bragging, and showing this pride in front of community members. Then Rasulullah ﷺ said, "Hada fi sabil al-shaytan." Fi sabil al-shaytan. He's doing this. This is the path of shaitan. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not like this mufakhara and this competition, this unhealthy competition. Unhealthy competition. People will have, the person would just get a second job or a third part-time job and don't go to the masajid, don't care about his ibadat just because he has only one purpose, to compete with his community members. He has to buy a house or build a house like the rest of the community members back home. It's not enough to buy a house here. I'm not saying it's haram if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give it to you in a halal way and you do it properly and you take care of your ibadah. It's not haram. If you are wealthy, alhamdulillah, it's good. But you have to use it in the right way. You have to earn it in a halal way and spend it in the right way. This is what Islam wants you to do. You earn it in a halal way and spend it in ways that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is pleased with. في حديث آخر يقول الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم البيعان بالخيار ما لم يفترقا. The buyer and the seller have the option to cancel their transaction as long as they did not depart from their trading session. So there is trading session. They are talking to each other and they are negotiating the deal. Okay? And the seller has given his price and the buyer has agreed or did not agree, he's still negotiating. Even if he agreed and then he gave him money, he's still in the trading session. He did not leave the shop. He did not leave that place. Rasulullah ﷺ said, Al-Bayyani bil-Khiyar. They have, this is Khiyar al-Majlis. It's called Khiyar al-Majlis. They are still, both of them are still present in this trading session. So they have the option to cancel this transaction. ما لم يتفرقا, as long as they did not depart, they did not leave this trading session. فإن بينا ونصح بورك لهما في بيعهما. If they have given full information about their sale, their deal, or their products, then بورك لهما في بيعهما, their sale will be blessed. This is what Rasulullah said in Bukhari and Muslim. وإن كتما ولم يبينا. So if they did not give full information, half of the information, you're selling a car, and you have the car, the car is having many problems. And you know that if the customer knows about all problems, he's not going to buy it. And you want to sell it. And you tell him about few things, but you ignore other things. No. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Rasulullah said that you have to show him, you have to tell him everything. You know the story of the one who was selling grain? Rasulullah he said, مَا هَذَا يَا صَاحِبَ الطَّعَامِ مَنْ غَشَّنَا فَلَيْسَ مِنَّا. Because he kept wet grain in the bottom and the dry ones were on the surface, on the top of the bag. So it applies to everything. If you are selling a house or selling car or selling anything, we have many problems in our community between Muslims. Come to the masjid, pray in the same masjid, and time to time we have a dispute. People complaining. He's complaining about his brother. He made business with him, bought a house from him or a car, and he cheated him. And then we sometimes we are in between as imams and we try to bring them together. And it's not easy. It's not easy. I hate to do this job. I don't want to be involved, but sometimes you have to help people because people need help in that.
We can't help you.
Well, yeah. But anyway, this is a problem that we are facing. The problem that we are facing when it comes to money, we are weak. We are weak, we don't control our desires. So Islam wants you to control your desires, wants you to tell the customer about all the qualities of your product. And this hadith, as I said, is in Bukhari and Muslim. It's 8 o'clock, we have to pray Isha. So if you have a question or two, then before we close this halaqah, inshallah.
What
تفضل يا أخي.
does the government have in do they have like what is it, like government enterprise systems? Like, for example, natural gas or something. Does the government take that, or what happens in Islamic society?
In Islamic society, government is not supposed to interfere with the prices as a principle, unless there is manipulation. If there are big companies owned by the government, and the government, of course, has the right, because they are owned by the government, they have the right to set prices.
Okay, so they can own.
Yeah, Bayt al-Mal, مثلا Bayt al-Mal. The Ministry of Finance, for example, let's call it Ministry of Finance, Bayt al-Mal at the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They have properties. They have zakat, and they have camels, and you have cattle, and they have grains and food items. So if they need to sell some products or some of their cattle, then they have the right to set the prices, because they are the ones who are selling. So when we talk about price control, we talk about government coming to the market and put some restrictions on the prices without any right, without any reason. So it's called tas'ir in the books of fiqh, and basically the government is not supposed to interfere unless there is manipulation or ihtikar. People are practicing hoarding, or there is some kind of ghish, cheating that is taking place in the market. Then al-muhtasib, the market inspector, has to interfere and do something about it. Yes.
What I mean is like this, on this other aspect of it is like, say for like a government like in Saudi or something, right? If they found oil or something, automatically that becomes like government property, right?
Yeah.
Can you do that same principle or same aspect in Islamic financing system or no? Like, can you take that product from somebody else's land, like pay them something for it, I guess, and then like have that as a government resource instead, or no?
I didn't get your question.
So for example, if there's like oil in a country, right?
Yeah.
Does that government automatically get ownership of that?
Yeah.
Can they pass a law or something to do that, or no?
It is a controversial matter, and they are called. This is called the rikaz in fiqh, in the books of fiqh, and the ulama they had a discussion about it. The conclusion, and what is adopted now by the contemporary scholars, that these kind of natural resources should belong to the government. This is the the fatwa that is adopted by many scholars. I know that there is no consensus about it. There are some other scholars that said if someone finds something in his land, he should be the owner. Like in the United States of America, if someone finds oil in his land, it's his property, right? This is what they believe, right? It's his property if he finds oil. For example, in the United States of America, right? Not anymore?
But here it's not.
Canada is not. Yeah. So majority of ulama, this is to the best of my knowledge, majority of our ulama, that's why we don't have in any Muslim country someone private, an individual who owns like oil or gas or something. So they said it is the property of the government. But the government, of course, has to do its job of giving zakat and helping. Unfortunately, our governments are not doing that. So, there is a kind of, what is in theory, what is in the books is so beautiful. When it comes to our practical life, is kind of different. It's a different story.
Sheikh, this one information like for the customer complaint is triple the person of better business value. So if anyone has an issue, so they just send them an email or information about any business problem issue. You are a client and you have an issue.
Yeah, there is a business bureau, and you have the right to complain if you have. Yeah, but because when I mentioned about the prices of gas and electricity, people don't feel that they have the time to pursue this kind of issues. You know what I mean? And that's why we end up paying these bills, even though in the winter we feel that the gas is electricity utilities are very expensive. We end up paying sometimes $400 a month or $500 a month. But who would look into it and say, let's do something about it? Most of the people are working, they have a job, they have jobs, they have an income. And if someone is not able to pay this kind of amount and he's jobless, for example, then most likely he's collecting EI or getting welfare, or the government will give him, Calgary housing or something. So you feel that everyone is happy, And I don't know if the prices are fair or not. I'm not saying that these companies, are not, their prices are not fair. But we used to hear time to time in the news that مثلا, some companies are stealing money from people. And it is the job of the government to keep a watch on these companies. Wallahu ta'ala. طيب, جزاكم الله خيرا. We'll continue.
One question. Jazakallah, very good. Very good, very valuable muhadara. The question is about penalty, establishing penalty or jaza. For example, you do a sale, and the sale, he's supposed to pay you in a year's time. So he doesn't pay you in a year's time, so you say the penalty is so much, based on, let's say, an interest value or something, which is a legitimate item. It has to be established in a contract. How does Islam look at this, and if there's any solutions?
There are different conditions here, and there are two types of transactions. If it is a loan or credit sale, the Sharia ruling, talking about Sharia ruling first, before we talk about fatwa, that any penalty is haram. If it is a loan, then I give him a loan $1,000 to Brother Arif. Tell him I need this money within 2 months. Brother Arif did not give me the money within 2 months. After 4 months, he came back to me. And he said, here, 1,000. I said, I needed my money 2 months ago. Now you have to pay me a penalty, like $100. There is no disagreement that this is riba. There is no disagreement. If there is a credit sale is, I sold him a car, 2,000. He paid only 1,000, and the other one is a deferred payment. The other 1,000 is a deferred payment. So it ended up like a loan. Credit sale here, there is a deferred payment. So if I add to this deferred payment, still riba. There is no disagreement about it. This is a Sharia ruling. Now, when it comes to projects, constructions and manufacturing is a different story. This is a shart al-jaza'i. So if someone, you tell him that I want you to build this house for me or this building for me, and I need it to be done within 1 year. I want this building to be finished within 1 year. This is called a shart al-jaza'i. Now the guy, because of his mismanagement or poor management or whatever you call it, he did not finish the building in 1 year. And it took him 2 years to finish the building. And you had other contracts, you had other business activities, you have a plan, you needed to move to that building. So he hurt you a lot. You have the right to have this shart jaza'i, to charge him a penalty. Like let's say, if you don't give me the building, if you don't deliver the building is not available at that agreed upon date, then I have the right to charge you, let's say 100,000 as a penalty. This is halal. There is no problem with that. There is no loan here. There is no credit sale. It is a project. Okay, and you are charging him gharama. It's called gharama. It's called in fiqh shart jaza'i. It is a condition that you put, and he has to fulfill this condition. Now, when it comes to loans and deferred payment, Islamic banks are facing this problem now. We have Muslim customers. They are dealing with us, and they have deferred payment. They have to pay us on certain dates. Now the guy is not paying, either because he thinks it's an Islamic bank, I will just delay the payment, it's okay. They will keep quiet about it, they are not going to charge me riba. Or he doesn't have money to pay, or whatever the reason is. Now, this is a problem. So the ulama have faced this problem, talked about it a lot, and there's a big discussion about it. One of the solutions is to create a charity department in this Islamic bank. I'm talking about Islamic banks and their problems. To create a charity department. And if people are late, they charge them a penalty. Basically, in the Sharia ruling, in the Sharia is riba. So the Islamic bank does not benefit, does not take this penalty. They put it in this charity department, and then they give it to those who are in need. Why they do this? Why they would charge a penalty? Why? What is the reason?
Push them to pay.
To push people to pay, to control the market. So this is one of the solutions. that is now used by many Islamic banks. But still it is controversial. Yani, there is no agreement about it. Many scholars have said you can use it because no, you cannot control your customers, and they will take advantage of your leniency and your, your rules, Islamic rules. Then you can do that. Allahu Ta'ala alam. This is one of the solutions that is available in the market, and I don't have another solution for other people here. Yani. Wallahu Ta'ala alam. Barakallahu feekum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.